Hello everyone, bonjour à tous. Brandon here from PSP Boarding. Today's workshop will be going over the Turkish Get-Up. Today's layout of the workshop, we're going to be going over the history of the Turkish Get-Up, the muscles that are used during the Turkish Get-Up, the benefits, technique, common mistakes, and where you can start. Our first topic of discussion is the history of the Turkish Get-Up. It has been believed that Turkish wrestlers have used the get-up for training purposes to prepare for grueling events. Many militaries around the world have adopted the Turkish or kettlebell get-up as a staple in their strength training program. It has also been around for many years in a rehabilitation practices and also has been used to train for competitive sports. Moving along to our second topic of discussion, are muscles that are worked during the Turkish Get-Up. The Turkish Get-Up really does target almost every major muscle group in your entire body. And due to the transition between lying, kneeling, and standing, there's particularly a strong focus on your core, the stabilization muscles of your hips, and shoulders. Here are 3 benefits to using the Turkish Get-Up in your training program. It's a total body exercise. The reasons that it's a total body exercise is because you go from a lying position to a kneeling position to a standing position before returning all the way down to the floor. This requires you to link separate movement patterns together in a manner that takes you through all planes of motion, the sagittal, the transverse, and frontal plane. This is different from most strength training exercises, which typically only utilize only 1 or 2 planes of motion. And it ultimately helps build strength in a way that transfers seamlessly to everyday life. If we were to break down the movement and look at it more closely, you can see that it involves a primitive rolling pattern, unilateral development, a lunge pattern, an overhead hold, 2 hip hinges, glute activation, core recruitment, improved leg drive, and rotator cuff stabilization. These are also things that make it a total body exercise and make it such a great movement to put into our workouts on a daily basis. Going beyond the benefits of it being a total body exercise, it is a great exercise for shoulder stabilization. One of the biggest benefits of the Turkish Get-Up is how effective the exercise is at improving our shoulder stability and mobility. The shoulder joint is our least stable joint in our entire body and is particularly prone to injury due to its instability. The Turkish Get-Up requires you to hold a weight perfectly stable over your shoulder, developing shoulder stability while working through a range of motion as you transition between lying, kneeling, and standing. This range of motion requires the engagement of your upper back and also helping to identify where you lack proper shoulder mobility. Over time, as we practice the Turkish Get-Up, it can help us improve this mobility and also balancing the opposing muscles that surround. Finally, because the Turkish Get-Up places a strong emphasis on identifying and shoring up muscle imbalances and weaknesses, particularly through our hips, core, shoulders, and upper back, this exercise can help improve posture while reducing the likelihood of experiencing lower back pain and reducing injury. So now we are going to go through the technique for the Turkish Get-Up. We're going to use a lighter kettlebell here to start. So I'm going to take you through all the positions that you're going to be in. And then from there, we're going to go over some common mistakes and where we're going to be able to begin from. So how we would start if we were a beginner, and then how some things that we could do to advance it as we get better at the Turkish Get-Up. So first thing we're going to be doing, you're going to have your kettlebell down in front of you. I'm going to come down to the floor. From here, I'm going to bring my hand through the kettlebell. So as you can see, I'm in my fetal position. Right now, majority of the time you might just be able to muscle it and then press it up. But as we get heavier and heavier with the kettlebell, This is something you always need to keep in mind, is that this right here is not a good position for you to be pulling something from the floor. Very bad for your shoulder, can cause an injury, okay? That's why we practice, even when it's light, good proper form and technique, so we can get better at it and we don't want it to break down over time. So I'm in that fetal position, my hand comes through the kettlebell, I grip onto it, I use my opposite hand as a support, and from here you're just gonna roll to your back. So I'm rolling to my back. From here, I use my opposite hand and my hand that's grabbing the kettlebell to press it above head. So from here you can see that the kettlebell is not sagging, okay? This is not how you want the kettlebell to be sitting. You want it to be gripped, pressed. It might cause a little bit of pain from the pressure pressing into the back of your wrist, but that's okay. It's still a better position for you to be in. So from here, straight arm, my shoulder is packed down, and you can see that my arm is straight on my elbow, okay? This right here, you lose all the tension. So we want to keep tension so the arm is straight, locked, gripped, is engaged. From here, my right leg is going to come to a 90-degree angle, and then my left arm and left leg are going to go out on a 45. From here, I'm going to press through this foot and my opposite hand, my opposite arm, and I'm going to bring the kettlebell up, creating a nice straight line from my arm that's in work with the kettlebell, all the way down to my opposite arm from the elbow. From here, I'm going to come into my seated position. Again, always keeping your eye on the kettlebell and your shoulder, everything is always tense. Oh, so much tension going through your body. From here, I'm going to press through my foot, bring my hip up, swing my foot through. From here, I'm going to hinge my hip back so I can take the weight off my opposite hand, and then I'm going to hinge up. From here, now I can start to look forward. I'm going to windshield wiper my back leg so it's straight, forward, and then from here, I'm looking forward, I'm going to stand up. Then from this position, you're going to do the exact same thing, but in reverse. So, I take my step back, I lower down under control to my knee. You can readjust if you need be. From here, now I'm going to windshield wiper my opposite leg, back underneath. From here, now I'm going to look at my kettlebell and I'm going to take my opposite hand and I'm just going to run it down my leg so I can find the floor. So I find the floor, I come out a couple inches, maybe a foot, and now I'm going to transfer my weight from my hip over top of my hand. I'm going to take my hand, or my foot, bring it through. I'm going to sit back towards my heel. I'm going to drop down to my elbow. I'm going to lower down to my shoulder, and then lower down to the opposite shoulder. I'm going to grab the hand that has the kettlebell, and I'm going to lower it down to the floor, and then I'm going to bring my foot, opposite foot, back up, and then I'm going to roll back into my fetal position. So that is the entire get-up from start to finish. So now we're going to go through it, maybe a little bit faster, but this time we're going to do a frontal angle. So we'll have our kettlebell to the side. Again, I'm going into my fetal position. I have my good strong grip on the kettlebell. I roll to my back, and then I press. Again, wrist, always engaged, not in this position. So you're really trying to grip that kettlebell, squeeze it as hard as you can. That right leg is in that 90-degree angle, or the 90-degree position. My opposite arm, opposite leg, 45-degree angle. And then from here, press through this foot, through this hand, and I'm gonna roll up. Okay, as you can see, I'm always looking at my kettlebell. A few cues for this, and these are common mistakes that happen, are shoulder. Okay, so right here you can see my ear is not close to my shoulder, so this right here is a bad position to be in. We want to actually press through and keep that shoulder away from the ear. Then from here, we're going to press up to our hand, into our seated. Again, not letting my ear fall towards my shoulder. I'm always staying nice and tall. And then from here, again, pressing through that hand, hip comes up. I bring that, sweep my leg underneath. And then from here, I'm going to go sink my weight towards my heel. And then I'm going to come up. And then I can look forward at this point. I'm going to windshield wiper my back foot, my back leg. So I'm in that straight position here. And then I'm going to stand up. Then from here, you're going to go do the exact same thing, but now in reverse. So I take that step back, a good step back. I lower down under control. From here, windshield wiper my foot underneath. And then from here, I'm going to hinge back slightly. I'm going to take this hand, come down my leg, find the floor, come out, transfer my weight over top of my hand. From here, swing my leg through, coming down to the seated position, drop to the elbow, then my lower back, my upper shoulder, and then roll to the opposite side. From here, grabbing with your hand, lowering down, and then returning into the fetal position. So that is our standard Turkish get-up from start to finish. And now we're going to go over where you can start. So, when we are starting this movement, we want to learn it from beginner. Our beginners, we'd like to start with body weight. So body weight, that means no weight at all. You're just going to learn the pattern. So we put our kettlebell to the side. Again, always start fetal position. So pretending like you have your kettlebell, you're going to bring it, come to your back. You're going to press it above head. Then from here, again, everything shoulders packed, legs, arm, 45-degree angle. Then from here, press this foot into the ground and then reaching from here. And then remember, always keep your eye on your hand. From here, up to your hand. Hips come up, swing the foot underneath. From here, hinge down, up. I windshield wiper my back leg. I stand up. And then from here, lower down, under control. Windshield wiper, take this hand, come down my leg, find the floor, reach out to the side. From here, load, swing my foot underneath. I sink my butt down towards my opposite heel. I drop my elbow, roll to my back, come down, and then return to the fetal position. Now, if we want to advance it a little bit more, you can take a shoe. A shoe is a very good one because we can place it on your hand like this, and then it'll teach you how to properly do the movement while keeping that wrist engaged. So, I'm going to start. We'll start in that fetal position. From here, come to here, and then you're going to be grabbing your shoe, and you're just going to place it above your head on the top of your knuckles. So from here, you want to keep this movement nice and smooth. We're going to go from here, again, pressing through that foot, 45-degree angle, opposite arm, opposite leg. Press through the foot, come up to your hand, bring the hips up off the ground, swing the leg underneath, hinge up. Here, windshield wiper your leg, take that step, and now you're in that top position. So, I'm looking again ahead of me, coming down, windshield wiper, I'm hinging back, my hand is following my leg, coming out from it, from here, place my weight on that arm, drive your leg through, lower down to here, roll it down, roll to your back, and then come back from the press. So that's one option you can use. As you can see, we've went through the basic Turkish Get-Up. There are a bunch of different variations. We're not going to go into the more complex variations, but this one is our basic, our regular Turkish Get-Up. Obviously, as you progress, you go a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, but always practice, practice, practice your form, specifically before you start getting heavy, okay? This is a great exercise, and you don't need a lot of weight to get the amazing benefits from it. So a few common mistakes with the kettlebell Turkish Get-Up. One is our wrist placement, so our how we grip our kettlebell, the position that our hand and our wrist and everything is in, the way our arm is, if it's not locked out properly, and then also packing of our shoulders. So, big common mistake when it comes to with the kettlebell is our grip. So we grip the kettlebell, we press it above head. Right here, I have my arm locked out. We tend to lose that packing of our shoulder. We don't want to see any bending at the elbow. Okay, so you've lost all that ability to pack, keep that core, keep everything nice and packed and straight. So arms should stay nice and flexed. Nice straight line from your hand all the way down to your shoulder, keeping everything in one straight line. Again, wrist, forearm is engaged. Okay. From this angle here, you can see my wrist is engaged. It's not falling like this. So always packed in a good position. Lower that down on the floor. So that's our shoulder and our forearm. Another one, if you look from here, if you look from the back, I have my, say if I had my kettlebell right here, I were to go up, a very, very bad position. So we're always thinking about keeping our ears away from our shoulder. So this is a good position here. This is not, okay? So we're always trying to press up. Same thing when we go to our hand, keeping our shoulder away from our ears. We're not sinking down. This is always engaged in a good position. Okay, so those are a few common mistakes that we see. We see people drop from here. So over time, so with your body weight, not going to cause injury, but if I have a heavy kettlebell above my head, that weight transfer all the way down into the opposite shoulder. If I'm in this position, it's not going to go over well. So where to start with the Turkish Get-Up? I would start learning the technique completely with your body weight. Practice it a couple times, go through it a few times, get it, practice as much as you can so you can learn the basics of the Get-Up. Then I would do the shoe technique where you would place the shoe on top of your knuckles. If you can get up and down from the floor, keeping everything packed, shoulders, everything looks like it's going well, and your shoe doesn't fall off your hand multiple times, then maybe you can progress to a lighter, you can either go lighter kettlebell, or even you can go use a dumbbell to start, and then progress to your kettlebell, okay? Again, you never, ever, ever, I cannot stress this enough, you never load poor movement. I'd like to thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you found the workshop informative. Hopefully you use the Turkish Get-Up in your own programming. And stay tuned for more amazing content coming our way from all the PSP staff across our country. Have an amazing day.